Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust, and today what we're going to do is we're going to show you an angry match. There you go, that's it, that's what we're going to do. It's an angry match where I think, to be honest, with a mixture of orbitals, flaylock and plasma cannon, we bring the justice of Pyrex to all. So yeah, that's the score. That's kind of running order today. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about Legion as well. A few interesting, well, I don't know if interesting, but a few developments seem to be kind of happening, which is, well, maybe not so good, I don't know. And we'll also have a bit of a look at maybe how Dust is going in terms of populations, etc. Just want to kind of throw a comment or a statement out there. We still love this game. We're not moving from it. We're not leaving it. It was funny that I didn't do a Dust video for the first time every day in 1 year. That people kind of flipped out, so it's nice to see a lot of people really supporting PlanetSide 2 though, so I'm really quite pleased about that. We do have a PlanetSide 2 group. Admittedly, there's only me in it at the moment, so, and maybe Dell and Nano and the others. So if you're looking to come squad with us, then certainly do that. We play on the Cobalt server, and we also play Terran, there you go. So anyway, that's another game. We're not going to talk about that here. What we are going to talk about is how is the game feeling at the moment. Now, matches like this, they don't come around that often, so to be honest, I do find that when you do get them, you should be enjoying everything about them. There still seems to be quite an issue with matchmaking, which again we'll go into, I think, in a less ragey way right now, which is matchmaking seems to be something that I think is generally not terribly functional compared to with the kind of games you're getting, because I'm noticing that there's still very consistent blocks of players playing at this kind of higher tier level, and they consist of Prima Gallicus, the French, Mafia Clan, and many others, but they're kind of certainly what we're finding to be the main groups of big players. So there will always be 6 of them generally, which is really good news. Certainly good news for the game, because otherwise it would be terrible. What's interesting, I think, is that we find that you end up basically getting put on a team opposite these kind of gangs, and there'll be 2 gangs against you. So for example, we could have 2 gangs on our team and 2 gangs on theirs, and we may have 4 in our gang, and we may have then, let's say, another 4 in the other gang. Then everybody else is not in a gang. Okay, so of the 16. You then go to the enemy side, and you see that there's 2 full squads of 6, and it's evident they are, because obviously they're all part of the same corp, etc. So that's really the only frame of reference we can use in that instance. But it does mean that they have quite a an advantage, because there's 12 players coordinating instead of 8. Do you see what I mean? So I think that sort of maybe needs working out. I mean, I don't know if any further development or changes really can even happen to Dust. But I would have said that would have been quite a good one, because I think at the moment there is a perception that you get stomped in this game, and people generally don't stick around. So if you get stomped, you're kind of like, well, what's this? I'm just going to go and do something else. And what's funny is that people kind of migrate around the game mode, so they go from ambush to skirmish to domination. But it is, in the end, they just find that they kind of end up in another group in the same instance. So this is kind of the challenge. Is I think at the moment that is a big issue. I would have thought, just saying, I would have thought that matchmaking would have sensed, if you're not in a gang, then let's not put you in a group against a load of gangs. I would have thought there'd have been something there for that, because that is maybe a good thing to do in the game, is that if you're solo running, then you can guarantee you're maybe just going to be put into a group with other solo players, so maybe you can then gang up. Do you see what I mean? I would have thought that logic would have been in there, and maybe it is, but it doesn't feel like it is. So that's something I have a bit of an issue with at the moment, and it's such a small thing. I'm sure that could be fixed without major change. It's just maybe the algorithm that it runs on. But I don't know anything about this. But to me, I thought that would have been a really nice one to include, because that is such a quick, simple fix that makes the game much more palatable to a lot of people. So no, there we go. I mean, to be honest, we are enjoying the game. I've got to admit, I'm having fun playing it. But I've got to admit, it's because I'm arsing around. I'm not taking anything seriously. We even had a conversation, right? it was funny. Let me relay the conversation to you. Delboy turns to us and says, "Hey guys, what would I have to do right now if I wanted to run a PC battle? And we were like, oh, okay, well, you'd have to, you know, do this. And he says, no, what if I wanted to just play a PC battle right now, as in, like, you know, it's 9 o'clock now, I want to play it right now. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you can't. And he was like, why not? And I'm like, well, okay. The way it works is you basically have to log a battle. You have to basically tell the intergalactic overlord police, whoever they may be, that you're going to attack this group at a particular time. So obviously tactics and Sun Tzu had no bearing in the future at all. And then once you've done that, you know, as long as all things being considered, you then are able to go and attack someone. And I thought, okay, so, you know, that's it. But you have to give them 24 hours notice. And it was like, okay, well, can't we do a sneak attack? It's like, no, that's a mechanic that's just not there. I think they said they were maybe looking into that, but I think, to be honest, it's not going to happen now. And then there was kind of like a pause. And then Dale turned around and said, that's a load of shit, isn't it? And we were like, yeah, it is, isn't it? So this is kind of, I guess, a really interesting point. I relay that conversation in entirely word for word, because the reality is it is pretty stupid, isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, I would have thought that the ability to attack somebody at some point, any point, would have been the beauty of the game. I know that you're always going to have this ping pong risk, but that again would have been fun. It would have shown dominance. It would have been, you know, a lot more enjoyable than, right, I'm placing an order to fight you in 24 hours. Okay, see you in a bit then. You know, it just seems stupid. I think it was terrible. So PC as a whole game mode is dead now, pretty much, because it's not earning money, not as much as it used to. And I think it's kind of there really just for the, I don't know, the electronic sports league dudes. You know, I love it when I call you out. Seriously, you know who you are. Seriously, you thrive for your KD. Your KD is all that matters, really, isn't it? It is, isn't it, bro? It is, because it means you're better than everyone else, doesn't it? Oh, that was a genuine sigh. To be honest, PC never really was a great place, because the mechanics of it didn't work terribly well either. So it was a bit clunky, and I mean, there'd be periods where you just couldn't even fight because you do group comms and the whole game would become a slideshow, etc. So to be honest, I really liked the concept of PC, but I think what it actually ended up being was just terrible and not very fun, I have got to admit. We did a number of them, and I'm proud to say I won every battle I did, every single one that I led. But it became such a chore. What was it? I had to rush home from work because somebody had attacked us. Because hey, lol, let's attack Pyrex. And I just remember this attack was coming, and it was like 5-6 o'clock, and I was in London, so I had to rush back from work, and I almost killed myself rushing back from work to get it. And that was when, again, I took a bit of a priority check in my life and thought, why am I running back to defended flag on a map that actually doesn't mean anything? So I felt so disconnected to the district as well. It just seemed such a pointless endeavour throughout. So, you know, I'm saddened by it all because I really wanted it to be something awesome. I really did. I wanted it just to be the next generation of first-player games, first-person shooters, because it would have been something different. It would have been a really cool, different differentiator that maybe when the reviews came round would have been they'd have been nicer, and therefore this product would have survived. I know, you know, it does come down to the simple fact that if when they review the game and it's just a lobby shooter and there's nothing in depth here, then that is why I'm afraid it kind of didn't do too well, because PC wasn't in it when it was released as well, so it was reviewed without PC. So to be honest, they've kind of shit their own bed here, if you excuse the very obvious phrase, because they should have just made that a primary piece of content from the get-go. But anyway, what can you do? To be honest, let's talk about Legion. Legion is a funny product and project as well, because if you've noticed, those of you that are YouTube savvy, CCP MC Peanut had a YouTube channel with like 3 or 4 videos on showing Legion gameplay. Now that channel has now disappeared, entirely disappeared, which is interesting. So I'm not sure why that is the case. So post in the comments if you find it or if you see it. It's not that he's just hidden the videos and made them private. The channel has gone. So the channel has actually disappeared. So, you know, post in the comments, tell me what's going on there, because I don't know. But what's interesting, I think, from a general point of view, is that, you know, comms seem to have gone a bit quiet on Legion, even from the forum as well, the sub-forum on the DAS forums. I can't see much new stuff being discussed, so, you know, tell me, hopefully I'm wrong, because I certainly don't have a Scooby's idea what the hell is going on. Well, there we go. You know, so to be honest, that's it. That's Legion. That's Legion for you. I'm really excited for Legion. I know people think, again, I love the comments. I read all my comments now. I've decided to set aside, you know, a day of the week where I just sit and go through every single comment. So if you want to say something really hurtful and break my spirit, then that's the medium to do it. I'm joking. Please don't, because it really does break my spirit. But it's really interesting reading the comments, because people, I mean, one of the things I would say is that if you, certain channels on YouTube, you wouldn't want to read their comments because it's just filled with like terrible racist, sexist, crappy stuff. Whereas the comments on this channel, because I think, you know, Dust and Eve are a mature gamers thing generally, so you know there's not kind of a lot of craziness going on. It's actually really a lot of really good comments, so you know I always love reading it now, because some of the knowledge that you guys have is amazing. You know, I'm stupid, I don't know anything, I'm not technical, I don't understand much when it comes to anything other than maybe business, because that's my raison d'etre. So it's really great to read other people's knowledge and love and etc. of the game, because you know I learn so much from this game, but people telling me what they're doing. So please continue to do it. It's really great. And I've completely forgotten the point I was going to make. Yep, I've completely forgotten it. Anyway, so you go, that's how my brain works. To be honest, God knows. Oh, that was it. Yeah. So basically, I think at the moment people are really pushing kind of, you know, discussion on Legion, and they're showing their real passion for the game. So please keep that up, because I think at the moment a lot of Dust is quite a negative place. So that would mean that therefore, whenever CCP talk to us about Legion, it's going to be quite negative because of the limitations of Dust, and I think the frustration behind it, which is a bit of a shame. Dust also does seem to be really suffering from people not playing matches. I know I've spoken about this before. If you go to eveoffline.net and you see that every day there's 4,000 people playing this game, every day without fail, that to me gets suspicious. I think, you know, for example, with the World Cup on Sunday, for example, final, you didn't see a blip in the numbers at all, which just to me shows that people are logging on, but they're not playing matches. So I think EVE Offline is now very suspicious. I would call that spurious rigor, because it's technically very factual data, but it's actually got fuck all rigor behind it now, because the reality is it's just a group of people logging on and leaving the PS3 on all day, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it doesn't mean that you're actually seeing how many people are playing the game, and that's the big issue to me. So I'm kind of concerned that the reality is a lot of people are just like faking what EVE Offline says, because I honestly would say it's about 150 to maybe 170 players that I see all day, every day in the matches I play, because of the type of game mode we play and the in theory the level of matchmaking we're at. And I think that is it. That is this game now. It's distilled down to a group of about, you know, as I say, 150 people who are kind of eternally fighting each other on one side or the other. And there we go. To be honest, I don't know what to say about this, because to me this is just the way of the game, surely. I mean, you'd have this in PlanetSide 2 as well. You'd have this in anything that doesn't have millions of players, where there's just such a likelihood that you're never going to see the same player twice, if that makes sense. I think that's a possibility, definitely. But I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I think it's something that I don't really understand the numbers, you know, being shown here. I don't get it. So I'm sure we'll figure more out as we go. To be honest, you know, Dust is a great game. There's still a great fun to be had here. But what I would recommend you do is you don't get too immersed with it. Find a fit you enjoy and then just run it. Don't run Proto all the time. Just run something that's going to give you the enjoyment that you want. And I think you'll probably actually find that you'll have a much better time doing that than trying to kind of, you know, compete and bring your A game all the time. I say this because it's just unfortunate that the vast majority of the people we meet, they never use anything but Proto. They never use anything but the same tactics. I've been fighting this one dude from the French for almost 2 years now, and they just run the heavy machine gun with the heavy suit, and that is it. And I've never seen them in anything else, and I've never seen them do anything else, and I'm kind of surprised. It's like Duna in his tank. it baffles me how people don't get bored of one fit, one gun, one style of play. Because if you've seen my channel for a while, you'll know that I've done everything over time, because there's just so many different things I want to do. So there we go. If I hadn't got shotgunned at the end trying to do that orbital, that'd have been a 41-0. But there we go. Bloody hell, typical. A lot of them were from orbitals, admittedly, but hell of a match. Look at that, top 5. Not bad, not bad indeed. When you get games like this, they are definitely good fun. But again, look at the enemy team. Lots of very familiar names that you've seen probably throughout the last 10, 15, 20 videos that we've done. So that is sad to me. So I do hope that maybe that gets changed. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.